This is a Storm 5 alert.
Good Monday evening to you. Unfortunately, we do have our first tornado warning of the evening, and is for Robertson County and Sumner County. The strongest part of the storm is near Springfield. So if you are in the path of this storm, you need to be in your safe place now. If you know someone that lives in this area, you can be that critical mouthpiece that helps get them this life-saving information. So if you can call someone, help to wake them up and let them know that there is a dangerous storm with a tornado warning moving through their area, that can do a whole lot of good to make sure that we are an informed community that is keeping our partners safe and keeping our loved ones safe. So this is a large complex of storms. The area of circulation is in between Springfield and White House. Now, that being said, the warning is much larger than that. So the area of concern for rotation is this notch right here. It's moving to the east at 60 miles per hour. But this is also a severe thunderstorm warning or a severe thunderstorm that's packing 1-inch hail and wind as strong as 60 miles per hour. And that extends farther to the east ahead of the area with rotation. So again, the concern for rotation, you just saw it move in between Springfield and White House. So this is about 5 to 10 minutes from Interstate 65. But the hail core with this extends much further all along Interstate 65, including the Portland area, and that stretches further down. Now, again, this is not the tornado warned portion, but that area of circulation is moving in this direction. There's also a pretty significant flood threat that has developed across parts of Robertson and Sumner County as well. So there's an aerial flood advisory for that area. I want to go ahead and zoom in a little bit tighter here so that we can get some street level mapping so you can get a sense of exactly where the area of concern is for rotation. So like I said, between the Springfield and White House area, seeing the red and green colors together can look quite muddy, but this quite literally tells us the direction that the wind is moving relative to the radar beam. So the radar we're looking at is out of Nashville. It's just on Old Hickory Lake. It's on the Mount Juliet side. And so we're looking, the red is wind moving away, and the green is air moving towards the radar. So area of concern right here, where you see the brighter colors. So to take that deeper, down into street level so you can get a sense of the neighborhoods that are impacted here. This is right near Armstrong Road, Gum Station Road, Baggett Road, Bethlehem Road, Pinson School Road. We'll take it even tighter. Pretty dense neighborhoods in this area. So we've got, again, Armstrong Road, East Jones Road, Armstrong Road as well. This is, let's put some distance on this for you as well to get a sense. The area of concern is about 6 miles away from Interstate 65. And I want to slap a storm track on this as well so you can get a sense of the timing of where this storm is and, of course, where it's going, because it's the folks out ahead of it that have the precious gift of a little bit of extra time. And like I said, when we first started this cut-in, if you know someone that lives in this area, you can be that critical mouthpiece that helps to get them this information so that they know they're in the path of a tornado warned storm. But it's not just the folks that are being impacted, it's the folks that are coming downstream. We've been keeping an eye on these showers and storms all through the afternoon. We knew that there was the potential for severe weather this evening, and unfortunately, it's coming to fruition in the overnight when a lot of folks are sleeping. And so that's why we could really use your help to make sure that we're communicating the information clearly and accurately. Nikki D just walked in the door, so she's hitting the ground running with me here as well. No rush. No rush here. Like I said, we have one, unfortunately, tornado warning in effect for the area. There is some concerns with flooding elsewhere, but clearly that tornado warning is the primary threat. So this tornado warning is in effect until 1:15. Again, the worst of it has passed Springfield now, so it's getting ready to cross Interstate 65, which is that Robertson-Sumner County border. And as far as impacts to Sumner County, the rotation is going to move in the northern portion of Sumner County. So Hendersonville, Main Street, Gallatin, this is going to pass north of you. I'm not worried about rotation impacting areas south of Vietnam Vets. It's areas north of that. So we're talking White House, we're talking Portland, we're talking northern portions of Goodlettsville, even including the Greenbrier area and Robertson County, right along Highway 109, especially as you head up towards the Westmoreland area. That's where the concern is for the potential rotation here, and of course the very strong wind with this. Hail has been a concern with quite a few of these storms, and this one is giving us some indication that there may be some hail as large as maybe a half inch. But the primary threat here, of course, is going to be the tornado threat with this storm system coming through. It is a massive storm, and I had a lot of folks earlier tonight when I was doing a Facebook Live just talk about how noisy, how electric, that they were nervous because of how loud the storms were outside. In part, that's because of the lightning. There's a lot of really strong, powerful, positive lightning strikes out there, and those tend to be the noisiest ones. And this is a very large area that is producing severe weather, whether that be straight line wind, hail, or the presence of a tornado. So the circulation concern is now just west of White House. So folks in White House, lowest, most interior room, take your phone with you. Don't dilly-dally. You don't need to grab any other belongings. If you take your phone, we're also streaming this coverage on Facebook Live. And so then you can hear when you're in the all clear. And trust me, given the all clear is our favorite thing to do. At this point, the concern for rotation has now passed the Springfield area, and it's getting closer to Interstate 65. But notice just how massive this storm is, right? All the way from just about all of northern Sumner County, across Interstate 65, the eastern half of Robertson. Whatever circulation is here is rain-wrapped. You know, a lot of times we get folks that try to go outside and maybe get a visual. Don't do that. That's not a safe thing to do at night. We're here to tell you what's happening outside and about the concerns and threats. So let us be your eyeballs. Let us be the mouthpiece. Latest scan here, update, it would be, I'm pretty clear we can give Springfield the all clear as far as rotation, but definitely some gusty wind. The concern now just west of the White House area, but notice the structure on this, how it kind of looks like, I don't know, it almost looks like a dialogue bubble, like how it gets larger up towards Cross Plains. That's where your hail core would be. So that's where you're getting strong winds, helping to keep some of those hailstones elevated aloft. So there's a real threat there, because hail, of course, that can crack a window, break a window, that can cause damage outside, and your urge might be to try to run outside and maybe move your car. Now is not the time. The time right now is to prioritize your safety and your family's safety, so you go into that lowest, most interior space. When we can give you the all clear, we will. From Portland down towards Castellian Springs, so just east of Gallatin, also notice how much lightning is outside of the rain. You don't have to be getting rained on to get a lightning strike. Lightning bolts can toss themselves out a good 25 miles from the center of a storm. So lightning a concern. We're seeing some of that thunderstorm activity start to blossom just a little bit here as well. So we're going to get an updated look. The rotation right now is just south of Cross Plains, and it is just west of White House. And this thunderstorm is starting to get a little bit of that, what we call kind of a hook structure to it, which would indicate some of those very strong inflow winds coming into the storm. So area of concern for rotation is in this general area. We'll take it down to street level so you can get a sense of exactly where this is. Again, very densely populated area here, so hang with me. There's going to be a lot of roads we're going to talk about. We're looking at Independence Street. We're looking at Pinson Lane, North Mount Pleasant Road, Pleasant Grove Road, Owens Chapel Road, Industrial Drive, basically all the areas that are immediately west of Interstate 65, Gum Station Road, Distillery Road. This is just the northern portions of kind of the Goodlettsville areas. You're heading up towards White House. Not to say that there aren't really strong winds even wrapping around the back side of it. See if we can sample some of these wind gusts for you. 60 mile per hour being indicated on radar. And if we take a look at some of the data here, looking like, yeah, some pretty strong winds down at the surface, especially up in the upper levels. That's what's helping to elevate some of those hailstones, and that's what's causing the concern here. So at this point, radar indicating around 35, potentially 20 miles an hour. We're looking so close to the storm. The radar is actually really close to this, and when the radar is really close, sometimes it doesn't always see the structure in the upper levels in a storm because that radar beam can't bend itself into a curvy line. So we absolutely want you to go ahead and take this seriously. The rotation threat has just about cleared Springfield. However, that thunderstorm is starting to extend just a little bit further to the south. So down towards Ridgetop, we're seeing a little bit of an extension here. It doesn't mean that that rotation is extending that far south, but we are seeing this thunderstorm try to expand just a little bit. There has been areas east of Interstate 65 generally untouched for the last 6 to 8 hours. So there is some fuel for them to work with. There is enough to try to make the air churn just a little bit. And that's unfortunately what we're seeing tonight. So again, recap, we've got a tornado warning in effect for the eastern portions of Robertson County. This includes Interstate 65 all along the Robertson-Sumner County border. If you are within the boundaries of this warning, your job is to move to your shelter. Our job is to tell you when you're safe, to give you that all clear. So trust us to do that. Go ahead and go to your interior space. That's going to be the lowest level of your home. If you have a basement, that's a great option. Not everybody does. If you don't, an interior closet, a space under a stairwell, a bathtub, these can all be really great options. Once you get to that place, you cover your head and you wait until you get the all clear. That's your job. We will continue to keep an eye on this, and when we can give you the all clear, we will. So as far as who needs to be sheltered, it's everybody that is inside the polygon, which is the warning. So this is all of northern Sumner County. This is Portland, down 102. This is Westmoreland. This is White House. This is the Fountainhead area. We'll get some streets here. This is Maxwell Branch Road. This is Bowling Ranch Road, Lee Road, Clearview Road, Jackson Road, North Happy Hollow Road. This really densely populated area up here. This is Jernigan Road in Robertson County, again, just south of the Cross Plains area, Cedar Grove. We'll get a few more street names up here to help you kind of get a better sense of where this is. Pleasant Grove Road, Covington Road, Boyles Road, Bill Moss Road, Oakwood Lane. But again, this is a very large, powerful storm. I want to turn the hail signature on again so you can see just how widespread that is. Over the last 15 minutes, you can see how it kind of snaked its way through Springfield and stretches just in between Cross Plains and the White House area. When you get enough rotation in a storm, sometimes those winds that get sucked into the center can be a byproduct of tornadic storms, just because that rotation, that inflow helps to keep that air elevated. Hailstones grow by spending a lot of time in the interior of a thunderstorm till eventually their weight causes them to overcome that updraft, and they're able to make it back down to the ground. So concern here with this entire storm, and I know this is a big one to chew on, is hail as large as quarters, 60 mile per hour straight line wind. The storm has unfortunately slowed down just a little bit, so forward speed now at 25 miles per hour. This warning is in effect until 1:15. And I'll tell you right now, whether or not the rotation holds together remains to be seen, but this is not going to just fall apart completely. It's moving to an area that's got a good bit of fuel. So down the road, not in a warning at this point, Trousdale County, Macon County, Clay County, Jackson County, you would potentially be in line for what's left of this storm. We've got to watch it to see if it'll keep rotating, but it's not going to fall apart. So you can definitely expect some gusty wind, some more heavy rain, and some downpours across the area. So let's get an updated look here. We're starting to see some of that structure. It looks like it might be trying to broaden out just a little bit, but we're not going to turn our back on it just yet. So Springfield, you are now cleared from the tornado warning, so we can give the all clear for Springfield down to Greenbrier. Between White House and Cross Plains is where we've got the greatest concern for rotation at this point. So all clear for Springfield, all clear for the western edge of Greenbrier, Coopertown as well. You remain in a severe thunderstorm warning because of the lightning and the hail threat, but the area of concern for rotation is now right here. It's about to cross Interstate 65. And as I said, it's only moving at 25 miles per hour now, so putting a storm track on this for you. Taking it through the northern portions of Sumner County. Again, we're just doing a storm track right now on the rotation. The severe component of the storm extends farther than the rotation center, but we're just focusing on one thread at a time. White House, 113. So again, you've got about 5 minutes. So I don't want you to panic, but I want you to move calmly and confidently to the safest place in your home. 137, we're looking at this being in the Portland area. We're looking right around 2 o'clock. For this to be in the Brackentown area, and then Bethpage around 2. Now, Bethpage technically just outside the warning, but it's possible that this rotation may hang on a little bit longer and that this would be extended. And regardless of whether or not it's rotating, this thunderstorm is not just going to evaporate. This is not just going to dissolve. So updated look at what we've got right now. We have the tornado warning now, still including just the far eastern edge of Robertson County. But the worst of it should be clear of Robertson shortly, and then our eyes will turn solely to northern portions of Sumner County. Again, if you're north of Vietnam Vets, this is going to pass north of you. Or if you're south of Vietnam Vets, it's going to pass north of you. If you're on the north side of Vietnam Vets, you should be taking action. If you know someone that's on the north side, let's go ahead and be that critical friend and family member that lets them know they've got a threat here.
And a lot of people, at the nighttime hours, leave
Yeah.
their phone on silent.
Yeah.
If you call it back to back 2 times, it will override. And then you can get to them. It will actually return their alerts back on for them. So please check it out.
Huge tip.
Yeah,
Be
so-
persistent, right?
And just keep going and make sure it gets all the way down to the voicemail, and then it's going to come back. A lot of lightning with this. I mean, look at all the lightning strikes, as you pointed out. And we are getting reports of a possible structure fire right around Chowning Road in the Springfield area. As I was driving in north on I-65, I mean, the sky was lit up, and it was very loud, even though I was miles away from this storm Bree. It truly is expanding, and it is so electric. Look at that right now.
Yeah. And, it's funny you would mention that, Nikki D. When I was talking about this earlier on a Facebook Live, it can get a little nerdy, but I think that this might be helpful for folks. When we look at these lightning strikes, we look at positive and negative. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because the tornado is the biggest threat here, but negative strikes originate from the bottom of a cloud, and they touch the earth. Positive strikes originate from the top, which means they have to travel through much more of the atmosphere before they can make it down to the ground, which requires a terrific amount of voltage. Those positive strikes, those are the ones that rattle your house for like 20 seconds. They're so, so, so loud. And notice in the last 15 minutes, 60% of the lightning strikes that have come out of this have been positive. So this is a powerful, jam-packed, electrified storm, and that's just this area right here. Those positive strikes too, because they originate higher up, you can see them farther away. So you can see them from 100 miles away, truly just like a disco ball illuminating. So updated look here, Interstate 65. So right now this is the eastern edge of Robertson County. That's where the greatest concentration of lightning strikes is. This is still where the greatest concern for rotation is. So likely crossing Interstate 65 right around the White House area. Again, this is the southern portion. So Vietnam Vets is down here. So that's the southern portion down into Hendersonville, and then as you extend further to the north, this is the northern half of Sumner County. Doesn't mean that this little sort of fill-in appendage thunderstorms may not touch the southern portion. You just saw an update there, but the concern for rotation is going to stay north of Vietnam Vets, and it's going to track due east. So eventually that would take it towards the Macon County area. There's a great hiking trail up here called Winding Trails that's really wonderful. It's going to be moving into that area as well. They also issued an aerial flood advisory. It looks like the National Weather Service may be trimming this tornado warning down just a little bit. There's an aerial flood advisory in effect for Sumner County, Robertson County, Clay County as well. And we have so many creeks up there that swell so fast. Drake's Creek, Station Camp, those are going to be running high in the morning hours. So really important to consider that even as you're thinking about your morning plans. Showing you really quickly some of the flooding headlines that are out there. So large portion, not just northern Sumner, yeah, big. So we've got some pretty significant flooding that's ongoing across Logan County up towards Bowling Green, Allen County, that's Scottsville up in Kentucky, because they saw upwards of 4 inches of rain in some spots today. So we've got a tornado threat, we've got a flood threat, we've got a hail threat, and we've got a wind threat, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. So this is difficult. Like Nikki D was saying, a lot of folks sleeping. It's the start of the week. It's noisy. These storms might be waking you up. If you can help us to wake folks up, you can help us to keep folks safer. And that really is the very best thing you can do. So at this point, as far as the rotation goes, it does look like it is clearing White House. It's moving through White House right now, likely just in between White House and Walnut Grove is where the most likely area of rotation would be. So that would put it basically crossing Interstate 65 right here. And again, moving at a snail's pace off to the northeast. The tornado warning ends at Highway 109, but the severe thunderstorm warning continues beyond that. So for some of the cities further down the pipeline with this mapping, 145, Rockbridge, technically you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning, but it's possible that that may be extended if this rotation can hold together. And we say this a lot. We want you to treat severe thunderstorm warnings like tornado warnings. They can do just as much damage. And even as we look at this storm, I think it's a terrific example that while tornadoes are incredibly dangerous, We absolutely want you to take them seriously. They also tend to be smaller when it comes to the scale and scope of severe storms. So right now, the area of concern for rotation right along Interstate 65, absolutely a big deal. But look at how massive this extends all across northern Sumner County, through Portland, like I said, over towards the Westmoreland area. It's basically knocking on the door of Macon County. So you've got a severe thunderstorm that's taking up a much larger surface area than the area of rotation. Good deal, good cluster of lightning here, so likely seeing a bit of a hail uptick in that area as well.
And we've got some good news. The rotation's weakening so much that the tornado warning will be allowed to expire. But obviously, we're still going to have that severe thunderstorm warning in place with the potential for this to spin back up. So that is some good news.
That's fantastic.
I wouldn't necessarily go back to bed yet.
No.
We're going to keep a close eye on this because it does have the reputation. And with so much electricity, as you pointed out, I mean, these are some big lightning strikes going all the way down to the ground. It is loud, and we've got the hail core as well as all that flooding.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the real heavy rain across the area.
All right, let's see. Let's go to our T-dot shot real quick. And Greg, if you want to punch that up for us. A lot of lightning on this. This is around Highway 76. Right around the mile marker 110, if you are familiar with that particular area. This lightning is
nonstop.
It's nonstop. I mean, you guys, it is very loud, and if you are waking up right now we do not have a tornado warning. We did. Now our tornado warning has expired. However, this system has quite the reputation, and that's why we're going to stay right here with you. A lot of electricity. We are getting reports of potential structural fires because of these lightning strikes taking place. So please be mindful. And right now we're happy that there's not a tornado warning, but we can't put our guard down as of yet.
Right. So, and again, the concern here is that we had this with some of the storms earlier today. They can pulse up and pulse down. So we're going to keep an eagle eye on this storm as it moves. But as far as the rotation threat, that has decreased significantly. It is still a severe thunderstorm. And like I just said, we want you to take those just as seriously. So important that you are in your safe place with this storm system. The National Weather Service actually just issued that new severe thunderstorm warning, and it is complicated because there are so many colors on this radar map right now. But let me identify. So the new one, the red box right here, is your tornado warning. This will drop off of the map in 40 seconds. It drops off the moment it expires, which it's going to expire at 1:15. The new warning does extend a bit further south, and it does touch Main Street, just east of Hendersonville, right near Vietnam Vets, and then cuts north. And that's because of this kind of tail that's developed on the backside here that we're starting to see a little bit of an expansion in the size of this storm. So again, 60-mile-per-hour winds, the main threat here. Hail as large as an inch, which we'll get an updated look at the hail signature with this. And it's still pretty potent. Those gray colors that you see, these would indicate around a half inch. The radar is looking about 1,000 feet off the ground, though, and those hailstones can be a bit, and you just saw that tornado warning drop. So that can underestimate sometimes the hailstones as they make it down to the ground, since they do tend to melt just a little bit on their way down. But man, oh man, is it coming down in absolute buckets tonight. Flood threat remains a concern as well. So the aerial flood advisory includes the northern portion. Wouldn't be surprised if that has to be extended because of this heavy rain. Rainfall rates over the last 24 hours, it really does tell a big story. Our northern tier has been whamboozled today. Our southern tier has been relatively untouched. There were some scattered storms that came through earlier, but the heavy, pounding, pouring, relentless rain really targeted areas north of I-40, and that's where the strongest storms remain. So for areas north and northeast of Nashville, think Clay County, Macon County, Pickett County, Jackson, Overton. It's going to be loud. It's going to be noisy as we head towards the rest of the evening. There are a couple stray storms now still south and southwest of Nashville, but they're not packing the same punch as the storm that's moving through Sumner County. Here is a look at some computer modeling for the rest of the night. And again, this is a model. It's not gospel, but it does tell a good story. We've got these scattered storms, so not everyone getting poured on at the same time, but those that are getting whammied. Most of this activity is going to blossom now as it moves into the plateau late tonight, and we're going to have storms around even at daybreak tomorrow. There will be a decent lull through mid-morning, and then we'll likely see an additional round of showers and storms fire around sunset tomorrow night. This is now 10 o'clock. That wave dies down, and then I know it's exhausting. We're going to do one more push of this on Wednesday in the afternoon. As far as our threats are, as they'll evolve over the next few days, they're going to become more of a flood threat now that the ground is getting so saturated. So we already have flooding concerns in some spots. That will likely continue to be an issue, especially those flood-prone areas, low-lying areas, streams, creeks that just don't take much. As they get more and more saturated, they're going to have a hard time keeping their water in their banks. So be really mindful tomorrow morning as you head out the door. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye on everything that you may have gone to sleep tonight where some roads were fine, and tomorrow morning they may be struggling a little bit if they've got a low-lying area, stream or creek that potentially is trying to come out of its banks just a little bit. So at this point, severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 2 a.m. for Macon, Robertson, and Sumner County. It's the extreme eastern edge of Robertson County. So as far as folks that are in the clear, Barren Plain, Springfield, Pleasant View, everybody inside this white box, this storm is moving away from you. But it's that eastern edge that hugs Interstate 65 remains in the severe thunderstorm warning. So you just go ahead, you stay inside, you let us do the dirty work of keeping track of this thing. And as soon as we can give you the all clear, we will. Here is another updated storm track, more on the bulk of this storm, just so you can see kind of the timing on it as well. So as we move to the east, and I'm putting this out pretty far. This is not guaranteeing that it's going to maintain this kind of strength this far out. I just want you to know where the storm would go and what time it would get there. So warning in effect until 2 a.m. That pushes it through the northern portions of Gallatin, pushes it through Castalian Springs around 142, pushes it through Hartsville at 2 a.m., and then eventually towards Lafayette right around 2:20. This is past the time of the expiration of the warning, so we'll see if it can maintain its strength. But in Hermitage Springs, the remnants of this, they're going to be on your doorstep by about 3 a.m. So these are slow movers. They're loud. They are hail makers, and they've got some very strong wind with them. Thankfully, as Nikki D was saying, we'd love to see the rotation fall apart there. We have not gotten any reports in just yet of any injuries or any damage, but if those do come in, we will make sure to let you know. At this point, since the tornado warning has expired, we're going to go ahead and let it go back to programming at this point, but you can be rest assured you are well covered.
Yes.
We are well covered, and we are keeping an eagle eye on this. If you don't have our Storm Shield app, download it now. Make sure locations and notifications are turned on, or else it can't help you.
And if you're going on vacation, it will also help you in that event as well. There's a live radar alongside it. We'll be here the whole time because we know these are very loud, and even the cells down to the south into Lawrence County, a lot of those are actually positive lightning strikes too. So these are really rocking and rolling, probably causing a lot of people to wake up.
And you folks earlier were saying that they were feeling pretty nervous from it, kids feeling nervous as well. So we want you to feel confident. If you are informed, you're doing everything that you can. And we're going to keep a close eye on this. We'll make sure to post any additional information on the News Channel 5 Facebook page, Twitter account, the whole 9 yards. We try to get as much out there as we can. And if you can safely report something, if you observe or if you notice some hailstones in your backyard, only after it's safe, we can help communicate those to the National Weather Service, and it's so valuable.
It really is.
To provide ground truth to them. So we appreciate your partnership, calling, checking on your loved ones, being informed, staying safe.
Just please, only if it's safe.
Only if it's
do
safe.
That, because it is. These are going to be very rain wrapped. It's dark outside. It's very difficult to see. Even though we've got a lot of lightning, where you feel like you're getting little flickers of what's happening, there's no need to go out there until it is completely safe.
No. So thank you so much for trusting us. Like I said, we're going to be keeping a close eye on this, and if any additional threat develops, you can be assured we're going to pop on quickly.
Yes. Stay safe and have a good night.